Clear times are going to be around 3.5 to 4 minutes with a good group for 4 tomestones a pop, for a theoretical 60 Moogle tomestones per hour at 4 minutes. Sounds good? Let's get right into it. So the Moogle treasure trove, the hunt for Verity, is out, and this video specifically is going to be focused on trying to figure out what exactly the best farming method is and really explain what blue mage spells you're going to need, how to really approach it, and what content. Check out my last video that I'm also going to put in the description and pinned comment for what to buy for maximum gil profit once you have the tomestones. I released that a few hours ago. But here we're talking about the fastest farm method, and my by far best result has been in Aurum Vale, hands down. You're looking with a good group around 3.5 to 4-ish minutes per clear. Done that a few times consistently myself now, and so that's not just theory, I have done it myself. And as always, if this video and my research helps you, I'd super appreciate if you dropped a pile of Moogle tomestones on that like button and cat daddy that subscribe button. Let's first talk team composition because this is incredibly important. Aim to have at least 3 blue mages, and maybe in a few days with optimized farming, even the tank may be a blue mage, which will speed things up further. I wasn't seeing or had no opportunity to really explore that avenue myself. By the time I'm doing this video, I'm trying to get this out as soon as I can for y'all so you can farm, but I do suspect we might see a 4th pretty soon. Next up for preparation is very important, and I cannot stress this enough. Make sure yourself and the blue mages in your team have this all set up. It is better to wait an extra few minutes if you're going to run multiple farm runs than have a blue mage that's missing these. And actually, that being said, let's talk about the spells that I actually do consider mandatory for this. And that's not me just fudging, being like, oh, this is a low quality of life. I'd consider them mandatory for this. Every single blue mage in the party has to have these. Not having them will dramatically lower the speed, and you will not get 3.5 minutes, guaranteed. Or if you do, I would be shocked. So I was gonna post that just to like prove me wrong. Actually, Cole from editing here, the video on where to get the blue magic spells is gonna be in the pinned comment and description as well. Locations haven't changed. Video that I did is still true today. Okay, back to the regular scheduled video. First up is Ultra Vibration. This knocks out all frozen targets nearby you instantly. Sadly, the level 5 death spell did not work in my testing, and so this is pretty much as close as you can get to it. This is going to be essential for blowing down packs of enemies, and you should really, before you even enter the instance, like as the party finder's filling or whatever the hell, like just determine which blue mage is using it on the first pack, which is going to be in the first boss room, who's using it in the second, and then the third. The order is going to be important. Nothing sucks more than all 3 blue mages popping in at the first and being like, well, I told you that I would. Bro, you didn't. Thank God I haven't had that situation happen to me, because I'm just like, this is a long cooldown. So save your headache and just ask. Just ask the dumb question. And then usually in runs you're going to get a 4th and 5th run, and 4th use is obviously going to be the first blue mage that used it. Obviously the 5th is going to be the second. It's going to be in the later rooms just before the final boss of the dungeon. Second up is what synergizes with Ultra Vibration to freeze enemies, which is going to be the Ram's Voice. AoE around yourself. Freezing is going to be essential for this to work. If you don't have freeze, please don't waste your time. Third is Missile, which is what you use on all the bosses other than the final boss, which is immune to it. Bosses should just be melting like super quick. 4th is what I'm gonna lovingly call the Final Sting combo. It's gonna be Moon Flute, Whistle, and Final Sting. Use this only for the final boss, not the little floor bosses that you're using Missile, but the final boss when it's around 50% HP. Probably will be a higher HP threshold if you have 4 blue mages, but I've found 50% HP is maybe even too high. Maybe it's closer to 45 depending on crits, but I digress. And then 5th is what I'm going to add as mandatory because it does speed things up a lot, which is Aetherical Mimicry, and use it on DPS, aka any other blue mage in the party, for a substantial damage boost. I was thinking I'd put this as a nice to have, but it is just such a significant boost that I would put it as mandatory. I can tell you I wouldn't want to go into like an hour-long grind session with someone that didn't have it. So mandatory in my mind. Now let's talk about nice to haves. And these aren't mandatory, but these will definitely help your life. So Hydro Pull, as it drags all the mobs into a clump. This is so good, I almost made it in the mandatory section, but you can try and get through it without it, but it will be much easier with this. Can't stress it enough. Obviously White Wind to sustain the tank. Obviously Angel Whisper to revive anyone that dies. these are just basic QOL. And then in terms of things that really help, is pretty much all of the off GCD damage spells, or basically any single target damage spell that you'd think of. I'm just going to rattle off here real quick with an image on the screen right now of their tooltips. There's just a whole lot of abilities that you can take to help you do way more damage and raise the farm party's clear speed as a whole. We're talking Super Naka, J-Kick, Song of Torment, Off Guard, both ends, Mantra Magic, Sonic Boom, both bottoms, Glass Dance, Night Bloom, Angel Whisper, Shock Strike, and the Rose of Destruction are all abilities that I've used to great effect here. Some pulls do require you to just smash and sit on a pack of mobs, and so yeah. So a basic run through of the dungeon is that you're going to start off with Etherical Mimicry DPS, rush down the left side of the dungeon, and then the tank will pull into the boss room, and the team is going to freeze. Ideally the tank's going to be behind the wall with all the mobs. Clumps it up, designated the first blue mage is going to be using, and only that first blue mage, by the way, is going to use Alter Vibration, and then immediately goes into spamming Missile at the boss. Boss melts, and then you run through the second set of mobs, and it's going to be a bit messier here, but you can try and use Alter Vibrate here. I've found the second person gets a high amount of value here. You can use J-Click or some off GCD AoE will usually dispose of the seeds because they are super low HP. You can pull up all the straggler mobs really easy too with Hydro Pull. Missile also works on those giant Moorball mobs. In theory, you could even run Launcher for AoE Missile-like effect. I didn't use it yet, but that might be effective too. And now you run down the hallway to the second boss, clump up, freeze, twerk on them, or as I like to say, show them the way that they do it in Balmung and use Ultra Vibrate. So stupid. But next, you're gonna hit the second boss, missile it down, rush to the next rooms, clump up, and then AoE dispose of the next packs. It can be, I do want to warn you, actually, it can be a very big pull if you want to try it. White Mind probably will be necessary here, so heads up on that. That is going to be a lot of damage coming on the tank. First blue mage designated to use Alter Vibrate may have it back up at this point, should if you're running along the normal time track. Knocking out both big Moorballs opens the door, pull the Scorpion adds, freeze them down, Alter Vibration, and ta-da, now you're at the boss. Now you're at the boss, you just go full single target rotation, blow all of your cooldowns from the boss, and around 50% HP, all three blue mages do the final sting combo, and then that should land at 3.5 to 4-ish minutes. Obvious disclaimers are if your team doesn't have the spells, it may take significantly longer, especially the mandatory ones. The nice to haves definitely add up, but if you don't have the mandatory spells, I'd maybe find a different friend to run this with, or maybe have them on the tank. But obviously other things that slow you down is if someone gets knocked out, like during the last pull pack, like that will slow you down, and so on. But yeah, by far the best farming method I found, and it's great. 60 tomestones per hour since it's 4 Moogle tomestones with Verity per run at 3.5 to 4 minutes per run, so 1 per minute, not too bad. Anyhow, take care everyone, and if this helps you out, I'd super appreciate if you consider slamming that like button with an Alter Vibration and cat-tagging that subscribe button. Take care everyone, and happy farming, and let me know, what are you excited to buy with your Moogle tomestones? Those video links are totally going to be in the pinned comment and description if you're wondering, where do I get the blue mage spells, what do I spend these on? Anyhow, take care everyone.